Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Rushcliffe series. This is the southernmost district in Nottinghamshire and it contains 59 civil parishes of England. And there's some corkers down here. Let's dive in and check one out. Welcome back to Rushcliffe again, everybody, and we've come north of Willoughby on the Wolds now to another village that begins with the letter W. There's plenty of those around here in Rushcliffe, and this one's probably got the most interesting history. This is Widmerpool. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Widmerpool, Wide Lake Pool. This week in Rushcliffe, we're taking on Widmerpool, or Wide Lake Pool if you like your etymological derivations. Christ, have I swallowed a dictionary? Anyway, this is located 10 miles away from Nottingham and 7.5 away from Loughborough. It's one of Nottinghamshire's oldest settlements. This fact is backed up by its housing. Until the 1960s, no new builds have been constructed for over 100 years. It's making up for lost time a little bit now, and we'll see how on this walk. The history of the village is intrinsically linked to the family of the ancient manor. Records dating back to 1216 show a Widmerpool family was present here. In much later times, ownership of the estate was contested by the Heriz, Pierrepont and Cromwell families, but remained in Widmerpool ownership until the early 19th century. That's when the Robertson family arrived. Famous for their jam, they rebuilt much of the estate, including some of the oldest surviving buildings, such as Gardener's Cottage, the coach house, home farm and the old schoolhouse. Widmerpool Hall was built for the family in 1872. You've got more jam than Robertsons is a saying in the UK, used if someone is lucky. Let's see just how much jam there is in the family's home today. We start on the village green, which occupies a corner right in the centre of Widmerpool. First job, parish notice board. Let's get this one ticked off. The green also has a lovely wooden village sign which shows some Widmerpool landmarks, including the church. There's no sign of any jam though. Underneath that is a plaque which tells us about Sophie Hahn, a Widmerpool resident and Paralympic athlete who has cerebral palsy. At the age of 16, Hahn won the 100 metres gold medal and the 200 metres silver medal at the 2013 International Paralympic Championships in Lyon, France. Let's go down Main Street now. Although originally an estate village, the number of residents here employed by it gradually diminished throughout the 20th century. Widmerpool once consisted of farm workers, teachers, smiths, gardeners, grooms and the like, and was almost entirely centred on agriculture and the concerns of the estate. Now, most people travel to work. The village no longer has its own school, shop or a post office. There's no pub either, and the village hall was sold in 1975. Regardless, Widmerpool was still awarded the title of Best Kept Village in Nottinghamshire in 2007. It may not have a lot, but it does have a phone box. This one's now a cabinet for the local defib machine. If you continue around the corner to the right, you'll come face to face with Keyworth Rugby Union Football Club, and no, you're not in the wrong village. Founded in Keyworth in 1976, Widmerpool is their current home, and it's a nice ground too. Information about the club is pretty sparse, but they are doing quite well for themselves at the moment. At the time of writing, Keyworth were top of their league, the county's 3 Midlands East North Central Division. That's a mouthful. You can reach the rugby club by bus. This stop is right outside the gates, and it's served by the number 863 between Ruddington and Keyworth. Now we're completing the circuit of the main village by heading up Church Lane. This street has some of the finest property of all in Widmerpool. One of them is this house, the old rectory, which surprisingly is one of only 4 listed buildings in the village. The others are the church, Widmerpool Hall and Gardener's Cottage. Plenty of others look like they should be. Take this one opposite for example. It must be worth an absolute mint. So those are just 2 examples of the big houses you can find in this part of the village. There's 2 more here on the left hand side. That's the rectory and rectory mews right there. Now as you can see, this road comes to an end. It's a dead end just there, but we can continue walking because off to the left you might just be able to see a way marker, and that takes us onto a public footpath, and that will head up towards the church next. The magnificent houses continue along this path which will connect us to the church. This part of Widmerpool feels very out of the way, like a different world compared to the busy road through the village. This is the view away to the west, lush green meadows and rich arable farmland. Before you reach the church you have to cross Fareham Brook, a 16-mile long tributary of the River Trent which begins on the edge of the Nottinghamshire Wolds at Old Dalby. Before reaching the Trent it passes through Bunny and drains the moors at Gotham. Here it flanks the southern edge of Old Hall Drive. Now to the church, dedicated to St Peter and St Paul. It can't be said with any great certainty how long Widmerpool has had a church, but there was definitely one here in medieval times. This church grew from that structure. When the Robertson family acquired the Widmerpool estate, it was in a sorry state of repair and was subsequently rebuilt in 1832. It once had a spire, but 4 years after that rebuild, it was struck by lightning, totally destroying it. The current tower has 3 bells, and the graveyard contains the remains of 2 Civil War soldiers killed at the Battle of Willoughby Field. Close by is a copse and a nature reserve which conjured up images of Chris Barry, a red spacecraft and the word Smeghead. Yes, this is Rimmer's Wood, and I only just resisted the urge to do one of his daft salutes on camera. Fellow dwarfers, make yourself known in the comments right now. The wood is only half an acre big, but you're welcome to stroll through it and explore it according to the signs. The trees form a beautiful canopy which lines both sides of Old Hall Drive, with Fareham Brook to the right providing a watery companionship. There are houses down here too though. One of them is the fabulous Gardener's Cottage, which is Grade 2 listed. Although built in 1832, this probably has an earlier core. Reputedly, this was used as the gatehouse to Widmerpool Hall, which is directly north of this area. How about those carved figures by the way? How nice are they? Gardener's Cottage is a fine example of the type of property we're dealing with here. Everything on Old Hall Drive is massive, detached, and probably very expensive. Some of these are brand new. Modern homes are something Widmerpool has seen very few of though, over the years. Well, there's no doubt about it, if you want to live in Widmerpool, you must have an income that's surely running into telephone numbers. Some massive houses here, ones which I can only dream of potentially living in. Not a chance, not a chance, no way. Now, of course, the biggest property here is one we cannot have a look at, and that is the hall. However, that is what the internet is for, because I can give you a little bit of information about the hall using some pictures. Here we go. Widmerpool Hall is quite simply a magnificent building. The current structure dates from 1872, but it was predated by an earlier house. Built to the designs of Henry Clutton, the same man who designed Lille Cathedral, it was constructed for the Robertson family, famed for their jam. The first member of the family to reside at Widmerpool Hall was Major George Robertson. Described as a neo-Gothic manor house, Widmerpool Hall is made of Bath and Clipsham stone and has an Italian clock tower. This is a notable feature because it has no clock. The space for it was left blank out of respect for George Robertson's recently deceased wife. The hall remained a private residence until the breakup of the estate in the 1950s. Then, for several decades at the end of the 20th century, it was the HQ of the AA Patrol Service Training School, better known as the AA Academy. Between 2008 and 2010, it underwent extensive renovation, and now it's a residential complex. It has 9 apartments, 11 Mews-style houses, and 4 detached houses. The hall remains Grade 2 listed. So in answer to the question how much jam has Widmerpool got today, well, not much. The Robertson name though is still one of the best known in the preserves industry. The company was founded in 1864 by James Robertson, a Scotsman from Paisley. The firm was run as a partnership until 1903, when it was incorporated as a limited company. It received its first royal warrant from King George V in 1933. Robertson's most famous product is Golden Shred Marmalade, a recipe created in 1874 and registered as a trademark in 1886. It's still made today. Other products include Silver Shred, a lemon marmalade launched in 1909, mincemeat, a traditional Scottish-style mincemeat made from raisins, peel, sugar and beef suet, and Bramble Jelly, a traditional Scottish-style jam strained of its seeds. I'm pretty sure all of you have had at least one of those in your lifetime. Okay, so now we're on the road which leads back to the green where we started. You have to go over this very tight bridge to get back to the start. There's a little waterfall underneath the bridge on this side. I can't really see it with the camera, so I can't show you it, but it is there. You can definitely hear the sound of the water rushing. And in the other direction, it's just basically a couple more houses, and the green is at that corner over there. Now, we are not quite done with the parish of Widmerpool just yet, because I now need to take you to an old railway station which is out towards the A46 out to the east, and that will finish us off. Lastly, we have to talk about Widmerpool Station, which was on the Midland Railway. The line is the same one which passes through Plumtree just to the north, still in use as the old Dolby test track. Widmerpool Station was opened for goods in 1879 and passengers in 1880, and was designed by the Midland Railway Company architect John Holloway Sanders. Local traffic was always minimal, a situation not helped by the station being sited 1.5 miles away from the village. As a result, it closed to passengers as early as 1949. One of the platforms remains in existence, as does a waiting room. As for the main station building, that was converted into a pub and restaurant in 1966. It was known as the Schooner Inn and later as the Pullman Inn, but it lay unoccupied from 2016 onwards and was finally demolished in 2022. The station sits just south of a tunnel. Stick around because next week we're off to find that. See you later, everyone. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.